So everyone tells you to harden up or, wake up earlier, grind harder, just be more disciplined, bro. But quite frankly, that advice, it doesn't work long term. It doesn't last long enough, no pun intended. Not because you're weak, but just because you've been pushing the wrong way. And I thought, discipline meant forcing myself into a certain position. But the second I started to see discipline as a reflection of who I want to become and began acting on that, speaking on that, and dressing like that person even, everything changed. It wasn't more willpower. It was literally, quite frankly, a different relationship with myself. In this video, I'm going to explain why discipline is not working for you and what to do instead. So most people treat discipline like a muscle, something you push until it breaks, but that burns out fast. I like going to the gym. I like push day. I like benching. I love pushing crap all day. I love pushing weights. I love lifting weights. But with discipline, if you're just pushing constantly, you do get burnout and you rely on external pressure instead of an inner identity that sustains you. And, you do need to have this identity shift, right? It's kind of like having a phone, and I've made multiple videos on, the pros and cons of phones, but it's kind of like having a phone versus an actual power source. Discipline is like, the way I think of it is like, it's kind of like your phone's battery. It'll get you through a meeting, it might get you through even a day, but it'll die faster, or it'll die fast without a charger, right? You need to plug into your identity. That's the power source that's going to last all day. And this is why you need to have that identity shift. You need to become the person you imagine. If you want to be a leader, talk like one, right? Dress like one, show up like one, and act like one. Over time, your habits become proof, not punishment. Back in high school when I played football, I was the team captain for the team. And, I wasn't in the NFL or anything. I'm not trying to act like that, but at the end of the day, I was worthy of becoming the team captain because I was just a natural leader of the team. I showed up. I was someone who really worked hard and was someone that wanted to make a good impression or wanted to set a good example for the team. And if you want to be a leader, right, lead. If you want to be a good public speaker, maybe practice speaking. If you want to just be the person, whatever your goals are, you need to start acting like them now. So in one of the most iconic movies of all time, The Dark Knight, the villain, the Joker, Heath Ledger, rest in peace. The reason why that movie was so good was obviously, Christian Bale did a great job as Batman, and that the movie, all the supporting cast did a great job, but it's known a lot of times because of the Joker, because of how good the villain was. And, Heath Ledger, literally, from different news articles and interviews I've read and watched, I mean, he literally was living in a hotel and forcing himself to only sleep 2 hours a night to make himself go insane and become the Joker. Now, I'm not saying you have to become the Joker. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to reach your goals, if you want to become the person you want to be, start acting like them, right? Start acting like someone who gets up on time. Start acting like someone who dresses nicely. Start acting like someone who deserves to get paid well. Start acting like someone who, speaks well and presents himself in a good way. And, according to RCY Labs and James Clear, building identity habits, saying I'm the type of person who is more effective than focusing on outcomes. There's another study here done by Affirminosis that neuroscience shows identity-based habits rewire how your brain sees itself, shifting behavior long term. And there's multiple research studies and different things done that talk about this, but just think about it from a logical standpoint. If you're acting like someone that you want to become, you quite literally are becoming that person in real time. And actually shifting those habits from an identity standpoint do actually rewire how your brain sees itself. It really does. If you're someone that wants to lose weight, identify as a person who eats healthy, right? If you truly tracked everything that you put in your mouth for a month, you would probably realize you're probably putting a lot of BS in there. You know what I mean? Once again, the reason why discipline doesn't work is because you're forcing a certain motivation on yourself, but you're missing the point. You need to become the person that you're trying to achieve, right? When you go to get a job, you got to try out to get the job. You got to interview to get the job, right? You like, even if you don't fully know what that job entails, you have to act like you do, and you have to go in there like showing that you have quote unquote experience. Every company wants experience nowadays, right? Why is that? They want to know that you can be the person that they need you to be, right? So, and create a system or systems in an environment that make it easier to become that person. Right? Your environment shapes behavior more than motivation does. And here's a good example, right? Like, let's say you want to get up at 5 a.m. Maybe lay out your clothes the night before. Maybe leave your phone in another room. Set your identity in motion. If you're someone that wants to go to the gym at a certain time the next day, lay out your gym outfit all in your gym bag and all that stuff ready to go. So that way you're removing friction. I've always loved that word, friction. You know what friction is, guys? In sales, for instance, one thing that I've done is like, instead of trying to prospect or like find contacts or build sequences the day of, I always make sure my list is prepped and ready to go. So that way, when I like start my work the next day, I don't really have to like guess, oh, what do I do, etc. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing when I get on to work, right? So create a system and environment that makes it easier for you to become that person and step into that role. And let's talk about like real life application, right? So like, if you're talking about discipline in terms of like before this video, maybe like sheer force discipline, early alarms, self-shaming, watching, some dude scream at you on YouTube, or temporary bursts of motivation, right? But after, I want you guys to reframe the way you think and act. I'm someone who values depth. I dress sharply. I speak calmly and concisely. I begin with rituals that match the person I want to be. My actions become rooted in that identity. This creates more of a sustainable momentum that will continue itself long term and actually yield those results you want. And that's the problem I see with, even myself sometimes, but especially in the past, but just people I've talked to and just people in general. Like, I love motivational content. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's not a long-term fix. It's a short-term, solution, right? And it's not even really a solution. It'll make you feel better in that moment. It might make you get a little burst of motivation, but most people are still going to, sit back, kick the feet up, and doom scroll. And that's the thing, like, I want to get through y'all's head is like, you have to, instead of trying to force yourself to get up earlier or just grind harder, bro. Like, I want you guys to work hard for sure. I definitely want that. But discipline is not just trying to work hard. It's actually building systems and creating an environment and forming the habits that make you the person that you are wanting to become. And I think that's the most important thing, right? So discipline isn't broken, right? But your approach is. Research shows forming identity-linked habits can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, right? So like, just doing quick math, that's anywhere from a couple weeks all the way to 7 to 8 months, right? So the thing is, if you want to become someone or change something about you, like, you really got to stay consistent, right? You really got to stay consistent, like speaking this into existence. I know it sounds cliche, but it really does work, and there's clear proof to show that that's the case. And like I said, the approach is broken, not the discipline itself. You don't necessarily need more force. You need to become someone worth showing up for. Start showing up like the person you're proud to become. Talk like them, dress like them, live like them. When that becomes obvious in everything you do, discipline becomes effortless. So let me ask you guys, what kind of person are you trying to become today? And what's one small habit you can start adopting today to begin showing up like them? I'll give you a quick example for myself. I am, one thing that I've done is I tend to dress nicely pretty much wherever I go. I know that sounds like funny, but at the end of the day, like, I believe in looking your best. And that's one thing I've done is like, I always try to like wear, nice clothes, look good, feel good type of thing. I become the person that I know I want to be. Or like, if I ever find myself like scrolling on my phone or something, or like, I'm putting off doing a certain thing, I literally tell myself in my head, the type of person that I want to become would not waste time doing this. The type of person that I want to become would not be doom scrolling for 30 minutes, wasting time. The type of person I would want to become would not would not be putting off making those cold calls or hopping in the shower or going on that walk or going on that run or doing this workout. Like, stop putting off what you need to do. Get it done. Eat the frog, so to speak, and just keep going about your day. So if you guys gained any value from this video, please consider it sharing with someone else that might get value from it. And like I said, please consider liking and subscribing, and stick around for more. Talk to you guys.